So I finally decided to do it. Make a YouTube channel. It's not TikTok, so it's not like 3 seconds, 30 seconds. I'm staring at the screen for like the timer, but more so I'm staring inside my spirit. This journey of just like getting the book out, being able to actually have these conversations with random strangers, perfect strangers, beautiful strangers, in random places, and talk about just like life, like real shit, has been the most reflective year and experiences that I've had in a long time. To preface this, I started the year off working in tech, you know, making the six figures. I was like, oh my gosh, I want 50, whatever. But I realized that I was living like a rotten apple. That feeling of like just I want to feel something. There's a song out there. I don't know how to edit, but I'll figure it out. It's called like I just want to feel that, like just feel something. It's like an EDM song. And for some reason, I always caught myself replaying that song over and over and fucking over again, because maybe by replaying that song, that it might fill what I was void inside of me. And it didn't happen. Obviously, it never happened that way. I realized that I was living for everyone else instead of myself. And that was one of the harshest realizations that I have ever had to take on my own. Growing up, I was always propped up. We always had to be propped up, presentable for the world. There's my honor roll, whatever. There's my nice dress, good, whatever. But I had issues like with self-love and understanding. That adolescent age of just like wanting to, like they call it, rebel, but it's not really rebellion. It's just really just like seeing something that someone or something that understands and resonates with you, and not being able to find it, so you rebel. School, it's important. Yeah, they said, like, hey, go to school. Those same schools are telling us to shoot for a 2.0, believe it or not, because it was just such a bad school that we were getting in trouble at. And I think that a lot of that, and not knowing of self, not understanding who and whose I am, like, added to the spiraling. I love deeply, but that love can be misguided and misgiven prematurely. Like, how do you teach self-love to someone that looks around and doesn't see it within the people around them? You know what I mean? So, you know, that's one of the things that I have in these later years have to really like kind of get to grips with. Like just get to grips with the fact that I had to be my greatest teacher. God, of course, is the everything, the driving force. I literally wake up and say, I just want to thank God. God is great. This is the day that the Lord has made, because He's the curriculum. Whether you believe in God or not, you have to believe in something higher than yourself, because there's times when you're low. So if you don't believe in something higher than yourself, then everything just looks like shit. And I've been there. I promise you, I've been there. I was emo, gothic, self-mutilated, all these things, right? Now I find that like loving a being that's greater than myself, that is boundless in their love for me, has been the only way that I've been able to cut off toxic relationships, starting with myself and the ones that I delve into. I've been in some dark ass places, trying to be the light in a demon's den. You know what I'm saying? How do you do that? I mean, Yeshua or Jesus that did it. He went to hell, but that's not what He's asking of us. He's asking us to take the broken pieces and to use them for good, for greater good, so that God can actually be what reverberates throughout our lifetime. And I see it now. New presidents, new executive orders. Like, I don't like just being. I don't like watching life happen. I don't like watching and being told to be obedient to laws and rules and things that I have no participation in. I don't think anyone does. There's a lot of people that do. Yeah, salute to you guys. Like, I don't know how you do it, and that's not even any attacks. I literally, there's times when I'm jealous of you because you accept things readily, but I'm just not wired that way. It's not a good or bad, or it just is. It's just who I am. You know, self-love is also self-acceptance, not just the self-acceptance of the bullshit. You know, it's accepting you have flaws, you have great things about you, you have gifts in you that you may run from. You may be running from these gifts all fucking day. You know, trust me, I ran across the world. You know what I'm saying? I ran across the world to try to find myself. But I found love in great spaces, but I also found my demons everywhere. Dun, 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 right? um, yeah, yeah. I think I'm just gonna make this channel into something of just reflection, and it has to be vulnerable because you know I'm so used to, like, not to get morbid. I'm so used to like death, like seeing people die, seeing like dark shit, seeing whatever. But in that in that death, those beautiful lives have never told their story in a way that we can pick up and take and use. It's just, oh yeah, that was your uncle, or that was your great grand whatever or whatever, and they're just gone with all the wisdom and stories, and it's like, well, what the fuck do I do now? But that's the best place to start, because time doesn't exist. It's like, okay, that happened, but it's happening now, and your life is happening. So what would you do differently? What are you doing differently to rewrite time? It's never feel limited. Never. Because our minds can play tricks on us. I know we hear that all the time. Our minds play really dark tricks on us, make us think that like the ways that we're living is righteous, when we know in our hearts that we don't feel at all subscribing to what's going on, that we can be destroying ourselves. I do it all the time. Destroying ourselves. Sabotaging great relationships. And it's not with other people. It's that great relationship with yourself, with your God, with just the divine and nature. A sense of self. Because then you become a love addict. I was addicted to love, sex, a lot of other stuff. I love it. I loved it. I love the fuck out of it. But there's a precipice, or a point rather, where you just find that it no longer gives you the same effect. You sit there and you're just like, well, fuck, like, what do I do with this shit? I've taken it, or I've done it, or I'm doing it, but why do I feel somehow sober while I'm doing it? Why is my body rejecting it? Why am I forcing myself to like something that no longer serves and resonates with me? And that's where the addiction starts and continues and perpetuates and continues, because there's always another drug, another high, another person that's willing and ready, willing and waiting for you to choose them, because you're not choosing yourself. People see it. I never realized how much people see in us, especially like vultures and people that are just dark. They see our weaknesses. We tell our weaknesses, especially if you're a pure spirited person, which I'm sure you are. You probably treat people the way that you treat yourself, or that you would like to be treated, rather. And the world doesn't always respond to that the way that you would like it to. So be careful, but be yourself. Love yourself. Choose yourself today, and know that it gets better, even if it doesn't look like it does in this moment. You might have had some dark shit. I've done some dark things, and I had some dark moments. I just escaped darkness last night, and last month and a couple months, and yeah, but I know that there's a silver lining in that cave, and eventually you get up from the chair and you see that the world is way bigger and way more beautiful and lively than anything you could have imagined. So choose yourself. I love you. Goodbye.